I don't go to church anymore. I haven't since that night. And I want to be clear, I'm not a superstitious person. I don't believe in hauntings. I don't believe in signs. What happened to me inside that building has a rational explanation. It has to. The problem is I still haven't found it. It was a Wednesday, 11:48 p.m. I had no reason to be anywhere near that church, but my car had broken down 3 blocks away, and rain was coming down so hard I couldn't see past my own headlights. The front door was unlocked. That was the first thing. I pushed it open just enough to get inside. The air was cold and still, the way old buildings hold cold differently from the outside. There were no lights on, but the windows let in just enough street glow to see the rows of pews, the altar at the far end, the wooden floor. I sat near the entrance, close to the door. I checked my phone. No signal, no way to call a tow. I decided to wait. Maybe 20 minutes, I told myself. Maybe the rain would ease up. I never made it 20 minutes. If any of this sounds familiar to you, the kind of familiar that makes your stomach tighten, I want you to leave a comment below. Because what I'm about to tell you, I've never told anyone in full. If you're new here, subscribe. This channel exists because some stories don't belong buried. The rain against the roof was loud at first, rhythmic, almost comfortable. I leaned back against the pew and closed my eyes. I wasn't sleeping. I was just waiting. There's a difference. Then I heard it. Not loud, not dramatic, just a low, intermittent creak, like weight shifting on old wood. The kind of sound a building makes. I told myself exactly that. I opened my eyes. The church was exactly as I'd left it. Still, dark, empty rows stretching forward into the shadows near the altar. Nothing moved. I checked my phone, 12:03 a.m. I'd been inside for 15 minutes. I looked toward the door, then back toward the altar. The sound had stopped. 2 minutes later, it came again. This time, slower, deliberate feeling. One creak, a pause, then another, like footsteps, except spaced too far apart to be walking. I stood up. I want to tell you I was calm. I want to tell you I immediately looked for the source, logical and methodical. But the truth is, I stood still for almost a full minute, listening, not moving, the way your body sometimes decides things before your mind catches up. The creaking stopped again. Silence. Just rain. I exhaled, felt foolish, and sat back down. I checked the door. Still unlocked, still closed. I was alone. I was certain of it. At 12:11 a.m., I heard something that wasn't the floor. It came from the left side of the altar, a narrow door I hadn't noticed when I came in. In the dim light, it blended into the wall, but now it was fractionally open, a thin, dark line where there had been nothing before. I didn't see it move. I didn't hear a hinge. One moment it was closed, and when I looked again, it wasn't. I walked toward it. I'll be honest with you, I'm not someone who goes toward things like that. But a car was broken down outside, and I was alone in a strange building, and something in me needed confirmation. I needed it to be a draft, a latch with no catch, something ordinary. I stopped 4 feet from the door and called out, just, "Hello." My voice came back to me flat, absorbed by the wood and stone. No answer. I pushed the door open with my hand. It was a vestry. A small room, robes on hooks, a low shelf with candles, a wooden chair. A narrow window set high in the wall. The window was closed. There was no draft. On the chair there was a cup of coffee, still steaming. I stood there for a long time, long enough for the steam to thin and disappear. I did not touch it. I did not go further into that room. I backed up slowly and returned to the pew near the entrance. Someone had been in that room recently. That was the only logical conclusion. Someone was possibly still in the building, and they had not answered when I called. At 12:19 a.m. I decided to leave, rain or no rain. I made it to the door. My hand was on it, and I made the mistake, I don't know why, of turning around one last time. At the far end of the church, in the last pew before the altar, someone was sitting. They were facing forward. Still, completely still. I couldn't tell you if it was a man or a woman. The light was wrong, just enough to confirm a shape, a silhouette, a person. Sitting with their hands in their lap, not moving, not turning. I had walked past every pew when I came in. I had sat in this building for over 30 minutes. That seat had been empty. I was certain of it. I did not say anything. I opened the door and I left. The rain was still heavy. I walked the 3 blocks back to my car in it, soaked through. I sat in the driver's seat and locked the doors, and I stayed there until 2:40 a.m. when the tow truck finally arrived. I never saw anyone leave the church. The lights never came on. I watched the front door the entire time. The driver asked me why I was shaking. I told him it was the cold. The part I haven't been able to explain, the part I keep coming back to, is that when I turned and saw the figure sitting there, I didn't feel scared. Not immediately. What I felt in that first moment was that I had interrupted something, like walking into a room and knowing immediately you were not supposed to be there. Not that something was wrong, that I was. I looked up that church the next day. It had been closed for regular services for almost 2 years. According to the diocese website, it was only used occasionally for private ceremonies. There was no record of anything scheduled that Wednesday night. The front door should have been locked. I don't have a conclusion for you. I've thought about this for a long time, and I still don't. What I know is this. That cup was warm. That person was real. And whatever they were doing alone in that building at midnight, they never once looked at me.